Hello, John Lord here again, and what I'm going to talk about, a bit like what I did the last time, is about how you make changes in your garden, because your garden will never, if you plant, no matter how good you are, the garden you plant will never be right because after a while, no matter how well it's put together, because plants grow at different rates, and some plants do really well and some plants don't do well, and then something that you thought was going to look really good doesn't look so good. So gardening is a bit like, well, it's not as easy as having a room and you've got furniture and it's not right, you just move the furniture around. But with plants, you have to be able to move them occasionally and not be afraid, because you can get away with a lot. And another thing is, sometimes you have to do fairly drastic stuff, that if you don't do the drastic stuff, your garden ends up looking worse in the long run. So okay, the first issue here, see, we're looking at issues, and we mightn't actually do all these, but we're looking at them. So yeah, that's the first thing you do. We look at the trees here. Can we see up there? We have the giant redwood from California, and we have the black pine, and we have purple sycamore. Now in 4 or 5 years time, the giant redwood and the pine are going to grow in too close together, and it's just going to look too crowded. So what do? We probably have to get rid of one or the other. Which one would we get rid of? Now, I think the pine looks the better of the two. I would go for the pine, but people like the giant redwood because they love the idea that becomes the biggest tree in the world eventually. So we don't know. We'd probably take the pine out, and then we might take that one out. But we have the luxury of 2 or 3 more years to decide, but one will have to go. Now here, I've noticed this is in a giant reed, a rhododendronax, and here we have a miscanthus, and they're very similar. To my mind, they are too similar. If you removed one, the other would look better. So which one do we move? Now I'm inclined to move this one, but I don't know. One of them has to go. Which one will it be? We'll have to think about it. And look here, this rose, we have a lot of white here. Now I think if we removed this rose here and we put something roughly the same shape, we're going for the same shape, so maybe another rose but with a bit of colour, maybe pink, maybe orange. And if we look beside it, we have a little erigeron, which is a great plant for gravel, but it looks a bit dowdy with this strong colour, so we'll probably remove that and maybe put this in its place. Look at that combination. Isn't that a better combination than this combination? I think. So we'd probably do that. Now we're into mid-August. You could still do it now, because if you did it in mid-August, by the time you came to the end of August, they would start to regrow, and by mid-late September you would have an extra flowering, or at least you'd have extra foliage. So you could do it now. And if you didn't do it now, you'd make a note somewhere and you would do it in the late spring, because that's the best time to do stuff like that, because it very quickly recovers. Now what else do I see? This Eupatorium and this plant here in Achillea pearl, one makes the other. That's very clean and clear, and that's a bit sort of dirtiest looking against it. So you either remove this one and fill it in with this one, or you remove this one and fill it in with that. Which one do you do? I don't know. Nobody knows. But that's the great thing about gardening. It's your garden. You decide. And if you don't like it, you can move it around again, and you will never have a really, really good garden unless you move stuff around and you're not afraid to chop and change. And the most important thing in gardening, it's the best advice you'll ever get. It's not the most important part of your body to use. It's not your leg when you're digging or your hands, or not even your eyes. It's your brain. It's what you think is important. And if you have a good sense of observation and you look around and say, I like this, and then you think to yourself, why do I like it? And if you understand why you like it, you can get it and you can change it around a bit and put it into your own garden. So the most important thing is a sense of observation. Everything else is easy after that. That's it.